Daniel Penny, the person that murdered Jordan Neely on the subway, is being indicted for his murder. This is great.
Well, the New York grand jury has indicted Marine veteran Danny Penny in the subway death of 30-year-old Jordan Neely. Now, Penny was originally charged with second-degree manslaughter in May and then released on bail. For more on this now, I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Elaine Keano. Elaine, good morning. This is, this is a disturbing case sort of all around.
It really is disturbing all around. And this indictment, though, means that Penny will be arraigned and that the case is going to move forward. Now, it is not clear.
Yeah, this is good because we can't just allow random people to murder homeless people just because homeless people are yelling. I mean, people yell all the time. That doesn't give anybody the right to murder them, homeless or not.
What charges Penny was indicted on, but we do know he was originally charged with second-degree manslaughter. And we want to warn you, the video we're about to show you is disturbing.
This cell phone video shows Marine veteran Daniel Penny holding Jordan Neely in a chokehold. Prosecutors say that's what killed him. In a statement, attorneys for Neely's family called the indictment the right result for the wrong Penny committed. CBS News legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
I think what the grand jury looked at in terms of the evidence is evidence that led them to believe a prosecutor could prove that Penny used unreasonable force. Were the actions justified given the potential threat to others on that train?
Okay, yeah, everybody is a potential threat. That doesn't mean you get to, murder them. The guy was yelling. He wasn't hitting Buddy. He wasn't assaulting anyone. So, at the moment, the guy was a non-threat. The only threat there was Daniel Penny, who thought he could be a vigilante and be Batman and murder somebody.
Penny's lawyers said their client restrained Jordan Neely when Neely was threatening to kill subway riders.
The three main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm going to kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
Earlier,
he's the only one who claims that Jordan Neely threatened to murder somebody. Nobody else that was filmed or talked to said anything about Jordan Neely claiming to try to kill anybody.
Earlier this week, Penny attempted to defend his actions in a series of video statements.
And then some people say that this was about race, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Cell phone video shows that Penny held Neely in a chokehold for nearly 3 minutes. According to Neely's family attorneys, Mr. Penny should have let go before Jordan died. There is no...
I've heard that it was longer than that, even when, well, I saw a video, even when the subway train was stopped and people were getting off, Daniel Penny was still putting him in a chokehold. The dude was not moving, and he was still, choking him. The guy just wanted to murder him. That's all it is.
No excuse for choking anyone for that long.
This case is really going to turn on, should Penny have released the chokehold earlier? New York has a duty to retreat rule. And so what the jury will be looking at is whether or not Penny could have done less.
He didn't even need to have to put him in a chokehold to begin with. You don't need to choke people to restrain them. I don't understand this idea of thinking that you have to choke people in order to, make them submissive or submit or something. He could have just grabbed his hands or something. If there was 3 people, the 3 of them could have just, 2 grabbed the shoulders, 1 grabbed the legs, and boom, the guy couldn't have done anything. But no, Daniel Penny wanted to murder him. Everybody knows if you choke somebody, you can kill him.
Now, there's no word on when Penny might now be arraigned in the wake of the grand jury's indictment. If convicted of the second-degree manslaughter charge, he could face up to 15 years in prison.
That's not even enough.
I think that for many people living in New York, hearing about this story, they would have thought about all the other times where they have come across people in need, people in a mental health crisis. The mayor of New York announced several months ago that they were going to put together a program. And, he said this is a tragedy that never should have happened. What has he done to ensure that it doesn't happen again?
So it's interesting because in the wake of Jordan Neely's death, the mayor actually gave a speech in which he renewed calls for that kind of care. You know, he argues that it is necessary to involuntarily commit people who may not realize that they need help. People who are experiencing a crisis or people who are dealing with ongoing mental health challenges and mental illness.
I'm a little iffy about forceful detainment for a mental health crisis because that has been used in the past to pretty much just punish people for no reason. But yeah, there are definitely various times where people need to be involuntarily committed so that they can get some help.
But that's been, as you can imagine, a really criticized position. I mean, it's very divisive, right? The ACLU, for one, says, this is the quote from their spokesperson, that essentially they think that is the failed approach of force and coercion, that it really fuels the stigma, according to the ACLU, against New Yorkers who have mental health problems. And so it's a divisive approach, but it's one that the mayor.
Yeah, involuntary commitment has been used as a way to, definitely increase the stigma against people with mental health illness. Just, for the slightest of, issues, people have been committed under false pretenses by parents and others.
Has not backed away from. And so he, in addition to that, is also calling on there to be state laws that address some of the gaps when it comes to mental health care. Because, as you and I were talking about off camera just a moment ago, I mean, if you look around the city, you can see the kinds of challenges that New Yorkers, that the city officials, that mental health officials here are dealing with. It is something that is not invisible at all on the streets of New York City.
Yeah. And, the thing about it, when he came out with that announcement, I know one of the things that I thought was, do we actually have the resources? All of this stuff costs a lot of money,
That's an
right?
important question.
No, we have the resources, we have the money. It's just most of that money is being put into the military industrial complex, into cops, because people think we need more cops in order to stop mental health issues and, various other things that, doesn't really need that funding and could be used to actually fund mental health therapy. Like how long ago was it when Republicans and others decided to shut down a bunch of mental health hospitals? I know a number of it was due to abuse and stuff, but instead of reforming these hospitals, they just shut them down and sent the people just around the nation. And since then, we haven't really had a good mental health component of our healthcare system.